Namaste subscribers, namaste doston, friends, students, clients, welcome. It's been a while since I've managed to come live, or I mean, this is not really a live. I was trying to go live, but it kept crashing. So you know there's a cyclone Biporjoy, that is going to be quite diabolical. So in this video I have for you the most important astrological happening that is taking place tomorrow, and immediately after that Navratri. So this is going to be very important, mark my word. And of course on 22nd begins Ambubachi. Now before we begin, let us take a moment to acknowledge that goddess is, the dog is pushing my thing. The goddess is Shakti. So when we do goddess worship, we do Shakti Upasana. So before we begin, we invoke Ganpati with his Ekakshari Gang. Om Gang Ganapate Namaha, Om Gang Ganapate Namaha, Om Gang Ganapate Namaha. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Matrurupenu Sangsthita, Namastaswai, 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 Namo Namaha. And Mata Kamakhya is coming alive. As you know that during Navratri, any upasana that is done at this time gives us expedited results. So gives us a lot of siddhi very quickly. Siddhi per se is not that easy to get. What we can hope to achieve if we are beginners is to get the grace or kripa or anugraha of Devata or Devi. So I have certain predictions that, studying numerous charts and, psychically channeling from not only my Ishtadev and the Devi, but also channeling from planets and understanding the underlying astrology. Very complicated calculations are at play. So, the predictions I'm about to make, a lot of them I hope don't come true, because when we as astrologers, when we make predictions, sometimes they are difficult and that can instill fear. But my point is not to instill fear. The thing is that when you observe something, then you can bring forth the correct method and the correct habits to change that outcome. So what are we doing here with astrology is we are observing a certain astrological alignment, and the planets and the stars that are the nakshatras, they speak to us. So what are they saying as Shani goes Vakri? Vakri means retrograde. So as Shani goes Vakri in Satavisha Nakshatra, my moon nakshatra, I am in peak Sadesati as I speak to you. Shani is sitting in from Lagna, 7th Bhava, 7th house from my ascendant. And if you look at my moon, it is the very first house that Shani Dev is affecting. Now as Shani is about to go Vakri today, for the first time I saw a baby crow. Yes, you heard that right. Baby crows are extremely rare because they live with their parents for extended periods of time, and corvids are actually super intelligent birds. But my baby showed me the little crow, and I was absolutely blown away by what a tiny little baby crow looks like. And I wish I had taken pictures, but I couldn't. So anyway, let us progress further. But I saw a baby crow. It was the sweetest thing ever. Now, as I said before, that the calculations that I have done are indeed pretty complex with the channelings, and what I'm about to tell you can be a little difficult. So natural calamities are going to be very, very difficult to handle this year. In fact, as we go down history, 2023 will be known as the year of natural calamities. Like 2020 was the year of COVID, and now we will see that natural calamities will hit the earth like on an unprecedented level. We cannot even understand how bad and how intense these situations will be. So we will see that there will be tons of climate related issues that will pop up, especially in America, as I see. And even animal habitats will be in flux. So as you know, probably know, that we human beings, we have been solely responsible for the eradication of numerous species per day. And I'm afraid that this is only going to get worse as we move through this transitional period right now. It's only going to get worse. So keep that in mind. Help an animal, leave water out for crows and other birds. Leave some water with some marbles in it, so bees can also hop onto the marbles and they don't drown. In fact, I just rescued a bee the other day. The bee was drowning in the water that I had offered to my crows. As you know, I feed crows every morning, and if you do that, believe me, you will definitely experience a lot of relief from Shani's oppressive energy, especially if you are doing Dahiya or Sadisati or any Dasha, like a Mahadasha, Pratyantar Dasha, Antar Dasha, okay, of Shani Dev. Feed crows. Believe me, you will not regret that decision. So the thing is that animal habitat, even humanity, there'll be a lot of mass migrations to different places, maybe because of communal strife or some kind of civil war. And civil war is something that I definitely see rearing its head in numerous countries. There's going to be a kind of an atmosphere of panic that we will see, that people will be panicking right now. 2023 is gonna create a lot of panic with regards to natural calamities and disasters, and rebuilding the human habitats, and rebuilding human life after a tragedy like that. And believe me, it's never going to be easy. It's never easy is what I intended to say. There'll be flux in the governments, different countries. There'll be lot of changes and constant controversies and panic mongering, fear mongering. And also in the judiciary, we'll see that laws, new laws will be put forth and new laws will be accepted right now. So if you were, in the legislation trying to get something passed, this may be your time. In fact, the other day I watched a podcast about a woman who went to Haiti and worked really stringently with the government, and oftentimes facing a lot of backlash, but she worked really hard and brought about change in such a way that child trafficking or child sacrifice, indeed, was to be correct, was child sacrifice in Haiti is what she was trying to stop. And she actually helped pass a law that sort of sees children in a much better condition with as per legalities. But of course, by the time the legalities are operational on the streets, I mean, that is what we are looking at. And right now we'll see a lot of laws that will be introduced, and laws will be thrown out, or if your law was in fact accepted, it suddenly may come across some heavy scrutinization. That's definitely there. And legal, best not to get into any kind of legal situations right now. Stay away from legal problems. This is not the time to immerse yourself in any kind of legal complications. Of course, it will depend on your personal chart, but believe me, don't get into it. Okay, so sudden impacts, like things like this, like a law that's suddenly passed, will have a sudden impact on people. Sudden things can happen, right? And sudden situations can happen. Like I remember discussing this with my students of astrology, that the last time that Guru Chandal Yoga had happened in Gemini, and was receiving an aspect from Mars in 2001, we had the 9/11 attack. And after that, the life kind of really changed, the airport laws, and not only in America but internationally. And the calculations point me to something like this, the channeling points me to something like this. God forbid please, there should be no terrorist attacks anywhere, but school shootings in America, we will hear more about that. People being held hostage, stuff like that. It's going to be crazy. Sudden impactual events that really kind of transcend the more ideological spectrum, and sort of makes its way into our lives. Like how after Corona we were wearing masks, and how social distancing was a thing. I see things like that, impactful. There's a pandemic coming, because 2024 astrology reminds me of 2020 and 2021. So, brace yourself. Israel is another place that I see a lot of unrest. America, yeah, you are going to experience a lot of changes and flux, and I see a lot of people losing their livelihood. Again, this transition from human labor, if I may say, to AI, and this is going to find many of us jobless. So take care and be aware of changes around you. America, you will also be affected by weather, okay, by weather and financial situation, and also by civil war kind of repertoire that can take place. So best to just protect yourself. And what I see is that people will not be seeing eye to eye. That inclusive vibe and the mechanization of manufacturing concept just came into my mind, the Noam Chomsky piece. And I believe that this mechanization, this kind of the technocratic onslaught on our emotions, and being bombarded by social media, by its imagery, having to keep a certain face, and as the Jungian mask is Frida Fordham, one of Jung's students had said the person as this mask we wear. And now, because of social media, we are constantly we're used to the new masks that we are being forced to put on, because society now wants something different. Like in Bombay we say kuch hatke hai kya. So something different, something not run of the mill, so to speak. So every time we push ourselves more to achieve that. So that is going to have an impact on the youth and on children. Now in India, I see Gujarat, Maharashtra, Kerala, and Rajasthan, which I had already made a prediction about Rajasthan. And all these states will be in the news. It could be a natural calamity, it could be, stop, some kind of, manufactured terrorist attack, and things like that. Jammu and Kashmir definitely in the news. Also within the next month and a half, there is going to be a huge flood in the northeast of India. Also Bengal will be in the news for numerous reasons, and there'll be something huge that's going to come out of Bengal, and also all around the world we'll generally see very heavy winds, okay, and water will be we'll have floods and all that, but the preservation and the correct utilization of water is going to be difficult for us. Numerous like I said, that water related accidents can happen. The calculations tell me flooding and things like that, cyclones, even rains of different kinds, like hail. Now right outside India, close neighbors, Pakistan is going to definitely see very troubled times. Indonesia, lot of turmoil. America, Israel, China, oh my god, China is going to see some heavy turmoil. South India, be aware that part of the world can be hit with earthquakes and heavy flooding. That's very, very possible. And landslides. There could be a landslide that will occur that will affect a ton of people. Be careful of freak accidents, individually and collectively, like a huge accident or something man-made like we just had in Orissa. The worst train accident I think we've ever had, and it's complicated, like I said, the astrology, so just take care. And on the 18th and 19th is Darsh Amavasya, okay, Darsh Amavasya, which is this Navratri that's happening on 18th, okay, 18th morning the Tithi begins, and till 19th morning the Tithi remains. So Saturday and Sunday are super important anyway, because tomorrow Shani is going Vakri. So that day 17th, mark on your calendar, it's going to be huge. But Shani is manda moving, so slow moving. So there again, things could be challenging, and things may not be immediately boom, like 17 Shani Vakri and boom we see something. But always remember, I've mentioned many times this, that when a planet goes Vakri or retrograde, planet's not really going retrograde, okay, that's how we perceive it. Also when a planet goes Vakri, there is a point when it stands still. And this is the time which we call Stambhan of a planet. The planet is in Stambhan, completely halting to a grind. And that's when the energies of that particular planet can be felt most. The energies are most potent at that point, when it is standing still. Stationary is what we say in English, and in Hindi we say Stambhan. So once a planet goes Vakri, before it goes Vakri, it grinds to a halt and then starts going retrograde, and then before it goes direct again, it stands still and halts again. So these two times of transition I think are more powerful than Vakri or straightforward momentum. So this is something, or Margi or Vakri, this is something to think about. Darsh Amavasya. Now, Darsh Amavasya is very, very special because on this day, moon god is appeased, Chandrama, Som is appeased, and Som also rules the nakshatra of the new moon. Mrigashira is the deity, Soma is the deity of Mrigashira. Mrigashira is of course ruled by Mars. Not planet ruler, I mean deity, the Soma. Soma is none other than the moon. So this is the time of great lunar magic that's going to be open. And for those of you interested in Shakta worship, this is the time to worship Ma Bhuvaneshwari tomorrow. I'll get into all of that. Now, so Shani Vakri is possibly the most important thing that's happening right now. And also immediately after Shani goes Vakri, Amavasya Tithi hits. And as Amavasya Tithi hits, there will be Amrit Yog and Sarvartha Siddhi Yog, the formation of two very, very auspicious yogs. And this tells me, beautiful, expect good things to come out of this, sacred vibes and things like that, okay? Now the thing is that ancients would say that on Darshamavasya, the best thing to do is to worship Soma or the moon, Chandrama, to alleviate any mental imbalances. So obviously by worshipping tomorrow, either Ma Bhuvaneshwari or Som, you will be able to cleanse the mind. It's a mind cleanse, alright, to get rid of your old patterns that are possibly sabotaging you, things like that. So please try to keep a vrat. Navratri starts immediately. So if you're keeping a vrat for the 9 days, start with tomorrow. That's what I'm doing. I'll start with tomorrow, and after the sun sets and the moon rises, then offer arghya to the moon. Just water and akshat will do. And do also daan on Saturday. So any form of daan, best is water or food. Daan on this day is indeed very, very auspicious. You definitely should worship Ganpati. If you know nothing about Ganpati worship, just chant Om Ganganapate Namaha, Om Ganganapate Namaha, or just chant Om Gang, Om Gang, Om Gang. Don't say Gam, say Gang. Usually Gang is given to a tantric initiate, but why waste time and say Gam Gam? Gam means sadness after all, and it's not going to give you the same effect that Gang will. So Om Gang, Om Gang, Om Gang, Om Gang, Om Gang, Om Gang, Om Gang. Deep breath, focus on the Ajna Chakra, eyes closed, or you can even do Tratak, just a small flame here. Look at the flame, Om Gang, 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 like that. Alright, that's a very powerful practice. You can also worship the Shivling. Like I said, worshipping Pancha Devata on the Shivling is a workshop I have started with mantra, mudra, water abhishek, how to worship the Pancha Devata on the Shivling. So you may want to join that. If you are doing nothing for Navratri, I suggest take my yogini classes. For every day you will be given a meditation and you will be able to work on yourself, on your spiritual, psychological, psychosomatic and spiritual, so think about that. It's really a huge cleanse to utilize the Zambubachi and Navratri time and expedite your spiritual progress. So Abhishekam on the Shivling worship, and also I forgot to tell you that do offer a coconut to Ganpati tomorrow. Offer a coconut, just clockwise spin it. If you don't know any mantras or any anushtan, you don't have to do, just do that, and then crack the coconut, okay? It's very hard for me to crack the coconut, so I always have to solicit the help of my husband. So you too, make sure the coconut is cracked and offer it to Ganpati after the puja. Now, there are certain planetary changes that are also taking place that I will touch base with right now. Venus is moving into Ashlesha on June 17th. Shani and Ashlesha we know is in Cancer, right? All of Cancer. Ashlesha Naga Devatas are the deity. Ashlesha is one nakshatra ruled by Mercury. So very, and Mercury considers moon to be an enemy. So Ashlesha has this inherent mental disquiet about them, that very complicated sign, and Venus is moving into Ashlesha. So here here Venus considers the moon, Ashlesha being in Cancer, Karak, to be an enemy. Moon is neutral though, you have to understand. So Venus in Ashlesha will be a mixed bag, interesting, depending of course where Cancer falls for you, where it falls in your D1, D9 definitely, because that's more the promise fulfilled is your D9 chart, so you have to study that. Now we've got Shani going retrograde. So again June 17th, all of this happening, Venus moving into Ashlesha, Shani going Vakri, and Stambhan before that, because the stationary still, the standing still, Satavisha Pada 2 by the way. And then we've got Mercury is moving into Mrigashira, right, on June 21st, immediately after this lunation that is also taking place in Mrigashira. Jupiter is moving into Bharani on June 21st. Jupiter is in Aries and is still a part of this intense Guru Chandal Yoga. So with Jupiter moving into Bharani, and Jupiter and Venus are not friends, so there's going to be some kind of complication. Though Jupiter considers Venus a friend, but Venus considers Jupiter to be an enemy, so there's going to be that complication too. And Bharani is a nakshatra ruled by Venus, by the way, although it's an Aries ruled by Mars, but Bharani, and the symbol of Bharani is Yoni. So Jupiter will be birthing new things in Bharani. Deity of Bharani is Yama. Yama, the god of death, also Shani's brother. So Jupiter will also be bringing in certain endings and deaths, so to speak. Alright, the thing is that when we have Guru Chandal, Guru starts to behave like Rahu and Rahu starts to behave like Guru. So there's a whole role reversal. Also Jupiter's drishti changes because Rahu's drishti is different. So there are those subtle nuances to work with as Jupiter moves into Bharani. Sun in Ardra nakshatra, of course, Gemini, Ardra, one of Rahu's nakshatra. And Shani is also in Rahu's nakshatra, Satavisha. But Shani will be changing signs, will be changing nakshatras, not signs. Last time from Aquarius, Shani went into Makar, from Kumbh to Makar. But this time Shani will, whole Vakri movement will be in Aquarius. So no changing sign, but he does change nakshatras. From Satavisha, Shani goes into Dhanishta, and that is when some of the real problem is cooked up. So we've got Vinayak Chaturthi. I wanted to make a note. On the 22nd, the sun moves into Ardra. Book your Uchishta Ganpati or any Ganpati really, Ekakshar Ganpati, Maha Ganpati, Heramba Ganpati, Haridra Ganpati. Learn to worship Ganpati correctly. Drop me an email. Now the sun and the moon are coming together in Mangal's nakshatra Mrigashira, which is in Gemini, Pada 3. This lunation happens in Libra Navamsa. So deity of this is Soma, and I told you how interesting it is because in Darshamavasya we worship the moon. So here we have Soma, Soma, Soma. And in fact, Mrigashira is called the searching star. They're always searching for something, the Mrigashira natives, like, they're always searching for something. Moon worship is very important. Whatever form of moon worship you can do, it's very, very important. Now, certain things I wanted to, I'm not carrying that other thing that I wanted to tell you. I just realized that. But anyway, it's okay. I have a video on Ma Bhuvaneshwari, so you can watch that, alright. And you'll know how to worship Ma Bhuvaneshwari with Rilekha ring. So let's get back to certain motifs that will come through in the mass consciousness as well as with individuals. So first and foremost, there will be an interest in mysticism, mystical activities, the unknown, but there's also the more experimental substance abuse side of it. So just take care. Definitely pleasure seeking. I mean, with Gemini is not pleasure seeking, right? Philandering also. And the interesting thing with Mrigashira is it deals, one of the motifs it deals with is illegitimate children. So a lot of illegitimate children will be conceived at this time. So or maybe adoption of illegal children, illegitimate children. So, it depends on your personal chart or the chart of the country that we are talking about. But you get the idea that this nakshatra definitely deals with illegitimate children. Why? Because of that whole Tara story, and Brihaspati's wife Tara was in love with the moon Chandra and left Brihaspati, who kind of ignored her, and fell in love with the moon and got pregnant. And Jupiter fought really hard and did a lot of tapasya, and Tara was asked to come back to Jupiter, which she did, but she had already conceived Buddha or Mercury. That's how Jupiter reluctantly became the father of Mercury. So because of this story, and philandering also, because Soma was right out there philandering with Tara, who was the wife of Brihaspati. He had no business to do that, but he did. So that's how illegitimate children, because Buddha himself was illegitimate. Buddha is also Napunsak. So, all that kind of thing. So, asexuality also, because, Mercury is Napunsak, androgynous. There'll be an importance in smells, because Mrigashira is definitely concerned with the way things smell, and we are talking about Libra Navamsa. So this is the zone of Shukra. So there's definitely, smell activation. Also activities like brewing. Brewing tea could be a sacred healing experience. The Japanese, they brew tea for like 8 hours. The whole tea ceremony is a tradition in itself in Japan. So you could use brewing as something, therapeutic, or even brewing alcoholic beverages or non-alcoholic beverages. Brewing is the theme, is what I'm saying. Hormonal imbalances can occur. Okay, Mrigashira definitely has this, but since now we are also talking about Libra Navamsa, Venus rules the hormones. So there's definitely that side of it, hormonal imbalances. So, make sure you're taking care of yourself, staying hydrated, and, having your hormones checked and all of that. Communicating is going to be important right now, Gemini, after all, right? So healing that can come through writing at this moment, if there's some kind of unprocessed childhood trauma, or if you've been a victim of some kind of abuse and it's sprouting out for you, maybe because it's your 12th house that's getting triggered, it may be worth your while to just write your thoughts. I mean, you can burn them later if you are afraid that somebody will read them, or you can destroy them. But when you pen down words, when you write things, you actually bring things into manifestation, which is why I said the writing is actually a huge tool of manifestation. So when you want something, you write it down. I always tell my students, write 5 things you want from the universe, and do this on new moon days. And on a full moon, just express gratitude in a letter to the universe, or to your favorite planet, or something like that. Believe me, it's a very worthwhile exercise to immerse yourself in, and really spend time writing. You can use writing prompts. You can even write poetry if you feel so inclined. Trading will be important, although financial markets will be in a state of flux. Public speaking, actually. So if there's you want to make a speech, or you want to make that YouTube video, and you've been stalling for a while, then tomorrow might be the day that you can really bring it together. New moons are all about manifestation, and Mrigashira more so. Why? I'll get into that. Now in Pada 3, thankfully there is no nakshatra dosha, because when a kid is born in a certain pada, then different padas have doshas, but for Mrigashira Pada 3 there is no dosha. Now the desire of Mrigashira Nakshatra is very interesting, and the ancient texts tell us that Mrigashira's greatest desire or calm is to gain lordship over plants. So to be connected to plants, because without plants there's no food, there's no oxygen, there's literally nothing, there's no humanity without plants. So you know, this connection to maybe not gain lordship over it, because sounds kind of like, you know, Darth Vader there, but to just connect to plants at this time, to just, you know, establish a connection to vanaspatis. In fact, I love being a plant parent. I don't get to do that so much anymore, because you know, I have cats and dogs and it can get complicated, but I have loved being a plant parent through different times in my life. And you know, some of you know, my subscribers, that I started hydroponic once, and to grow the food that, you know, organic food that I was going to eat. So to just basically touch base with growing with plants, and you know, just go out there and just, you know, establish a connection with the plant, just to say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. That's enough to just take permission before you hug a tree, right? Just go and say the tree, I love you and I want to hug you. Just hug the tree. You can even sit in front of an old tree and talk to the tree. This is actually a very therapeutic thing to do. The tree truly does listen, and the tree will put thoughts in your mind that can later on, you know, help you come up with a solution. Say you have a problem and you tell the tree can actually put thoughts in your mind that can help you overcome that particular situation that was stressing you out, or you know, anyway, this lunation is going to see an overload on our stress hormones. So be careful to, you know, not secrete so much cortisol, because you know, cortisol being the stress hormone. It's time to just, you know, spend time, hug your child, hug your, you know, animals, and just to release more of the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, and to keep a check on the stress hormones like cortisol. Take care of that. Be careful of what you eat, otherwise there'll be a lot of pitta dosh or excess heat generated in your body. Mrigashira Nakshatra is known for pitta dosh. Animal of Mrigashira is the serpent. So, you know, serpent symbolizes resurrection. So, serpent symbolizes the Kundalini energy. Serpent symbolizes the search for wisdom. Serpents can also fit into impossible little holes. So, you know, can you fit into that? Can you contort yourself to fit into that? Then that's something to think about. Now, I said that one of the symbols of Mrigashira is the deer's head. And anytime I hear of a deer's head, I always think of the story in Ramayana where Sita sees a golden deer. And she tells Ram that, oh my God, that is such a beautiful golden deer. Please, can you get me that golden deer? And Ramchandra, he tells her that, no, there's something off about that golden deer. You know, I don't trust it. Let's not get it. But Sita will not listen. There's a song in Bengali. Tora je ja korish bhai, amar sonar horin chai. This means that I don't care what any of you have to say. I want that golden deer. So this golden deer is symbolic of our desires, of all the wants and the needs that we have to fulfill, and then that lands us in tragedy. So what happened when Ramchandra ultimately went after the golden deer? That, it was not a deer, actually it was a Rakshas who was pretending to be a deer, all for an illusion, all because of Ma Sita's Apaharan. So something bad happened after that, right? As Ram went chasing after that Shonar Horin, or that golden deer. So be aware of all the golden deers in your life that you could go around chasing, because ultimately they will land you in tragedy. So what is this impulse, this compulsive need to fulfill all the desires? No delaying gratification. I want it now. That will be the reason of tragedy. So as one of Ram Prasad's songs, Amar sadhana mitilo, ashana purilo, shakoli puraye jai ma. I have a bad throat, plus I'm not a singer, so forgive that. But the point is, the lesson in what I'm saying, this song, the Shama Shongit says that Amar sadhana mitilo, ashana puralo, shakoli puraye jai ma. That means all the desires, they just keep coming. No matter what I do, they are never ending. Asha na puralo. The insatiable my appetite for things. Shakoli puraye jaima. And because of this hunger, everything is finishing. There's a lot of depth to this if you really look at it. We are running around helter-skelter, hungry for things at all times. I want this, I want that, I want this, that. Insatiable we are, forever running and causing these tragedies. And then we sit and say, oh, why does this happen to me? Why me? Why is it happening to me? Maybe it's time to look at that golden deer of desire, that Shonar Horin. As she said, Tora jeja bolish bhai, amar Shonar Horin chai. That means I don't care what you all say. I want that golden deer. So be aware of what that golden deer is for you. Don't go around chasing golden deers right now. Be focused on yourself. Mrigashira symbolizes Devi energy or primordial Shakti, and Shakti, as we know, is never separate from Shiva. So when Shiva Shakti come together, what do we have? Manifestation, creation. Alright, so what will you manifest? What will you create? So there's also an incestuous component to this particular nakshatra, Mrigashira. I mean, incest is something that no one is comfortable with, so I don't want to get into all that. But Lord Brahma was enamored by Satarupa or Saraswati. So seeing that, Brahma was so desirous of her, she turned herself into a deer and flew to the skies. And Brahma also turned himself into a stag and chased after her. So this kind of thing symbolizes some of the more iffy energies of the nakshatra. So that's thought that story would be something to add here. Now, Tara, I told you the story of elopement with Soma. So this Mrigashira also deals with elopement. So, oftentimes we see that, a husband will leave the wife and go chasing after somebody, or the wife will leave the husband and, go chasing after somebody they think is going to be the perfect person and who will, be their ideal soulmate or whatever. But there is no perfect person, because at the end of the day, we are all just humans. So do not get married right now, or don't commit, get into a committed relationship right now. It's best to just be at this moment and expedite your future, your spiritual progress during Navratri. So if you have not booked a puja with me, if you have not taken my yogini classes, this is the time to do it, honestly. This is the time that will expedite your spiritual progress. And like I said, these are visible changes that you will experience. Your changes in your physical body. What does mantra do? Mantra brings up the urja, the energy. Urja is hovering all the way, always in Swadhisthana, in Manipur, Swadhisthana. The energy is sucked in from the Manipur, and then it is moving downward, Swadhisthana and Mooladhara. But mantra gives us the ability to move that urja upwards. So then it comes into, from Manipur, it rises up steadily, comes into Anahat Vishuddha. Even if you manage to get that energy to Anahat Chakra, that is a huge deal, believe me. Most people cannot even bring the energy up to the Anahat, and even though they receive energy from the Manipur, their Manipur chakra is mostly depleted and the energy is immediately being pulled downwards. So this is what mantra does, this is what meditation does. It helps move that urja or that energy upwards. So we've got and also the thing with Brihaspati is Brihaspati fought back to get his wife. So in the case of elopement, somebody's wife or husband may elope with a lover or a boyfriend or something. But if you fight, if you love your wife, if you love your husband, and if you fight for them, they may come back. I mean, I don't know why anybody want to do that, but you get the point. If you fight for them, if you think they are worth fighting for, they may come back, because that's what Tara did. She came back to Brihaspati, albeit with an illegitimate child, but she did. And thank God she did, because, what would Guru Brihaspati do without his Shakti? He needs her. And the moon already has 27 wives, so I mean, he's not really running high and dry there. So another thing is, Budh Maharaj, who is the child, the illegitimate child of Tara and Som, is receiving third drishti from Shani in Cancer, receiving third drishti. And since he rules this lunation, this is making the ruler of the lunation fluctuating energy. And there's also drishti on Mangal, alright, and Mangal or Mars when he is retrograde in Makar. Shani Dev is going to give his drishti, his third drishti, his seventh drishti on Makar, alright. And when he goes into Makar, and Mangal will be in Karak, so he will be giving his full on drishti to Mangal. And Mangal is Neech Bhang in Karak, so that's a problem, and there is a Shadashtak that is being formed with Shani and Mangal. In fact, I told you the Shadashtaks that are being formed are exceptionally rare and very bizarre energy they are going to bring forth. Real bizarre stuff, okay? You cannot quantify those experiences, you cannot label them as good and bad. All you can say is, oh my God, that happened to me and that was totes bizarre, okay? Totes bizarre. So that kind of stuff, right? So there will be another Shadashtak that will be formed when Mangal will move into Kanya Rashi. But at least Mangal will not be Neech Bhang in Kanya Rashi. So that's a better Shadashtak. Now, frustrations are going to mount internally, externally, complications, frustrated scenarios are going to happen. So, Mangal Maharaj must be balanced, balance of Mars, very, very important. So, as I said, that if you use this Navratri time, expedite your spiritual progress, you will be able to deal with the planetary changes, the flux that the planets are bringing, and they are bringing flux in a heavy dose, my friends. Fear not. I mean, fear, or maybe not. But as I said, there's nothing to fear, because life and the dance of the planets is eternal, and your soul has come here with this contract that you have, the parents you chose to be born into, in the family you chose to be born into. And yes, you are responsible for choosing your parents. Your soul is responsible. The experiences you've been born into, this is your soul contract. So, why run from it? Face it. And facing something head on is what gives you strength. That is what gives you strength. Not running away from it, facing it. And at the end of the day, if that is something we can teach our children, we would have created a generation of very well adjusted adults. But people are not well adjusted. There's so much of hatred, violence, affectations, superficial behavior. Everything is so superficious. So that is something we need to be more raw, be more authentic, live deeply, experience things deeply. And if that means you feel like crying, then cry. But cry deeply, feel that pain. Why are you crying? What is at the root of that pain? Self-analysis at this time, in fact, during Navratri, is very, very effective. And with writing, with sadhana, all of this becomes, all of these become tools for you to get to know yourself. And ultimately, all we are here to do is to become the best version of ourselves. And we cannot become the best version of ourselves without knowing ourselves, knowing the light and the shadow. So that is something to think of. So don't get all frustrated, don't push it. Patience. Patience is something that we need. So Shani and Mangal, Shadashtak balance. Uchishta Ganpati is a very powerful kavach. Uchishta Ganpati worship and kavach. Also for women, Kamakhya kavach is very, very powerful to balance this. Ultimately the form of Uchishta Ganpati is the form of the Shivling, Shiva Parvati. So the male and the female coming together. So on Uchishta Ganpati and Matangi, actually Pancha Devata Puja can be done. So it's that powerful. Okay, the 8th form of Ganesh is that powerful. He is Shiv himself. And Matangi is none other than Shakti, and Shakti has many names: Kali, Bagala, Matangi, Dhumavati, Tripura Sundari. Depending on which form of the goddess you like. We can't know the Shakti, the primordial feminine energies. We can't know her, right? She has no form. But we give that Shakti form because we love her as a mother, as a sister, as a companion. The goddess, the feminine energy is abstract. There's no form, there's no face, we have anthropomorphized her. But to love abstraction is difficult. That is why we have given her this beautiful form, and we have given her these names, these archetypes. The goddess has infinite archetypes, but we have chosen the Dasha Mahavidyas as 10 points in her personality to know her a bit better. Nobody can know her, but she is the creatrix of all the universe. That energy, that is the feminine energy. And Ambubachi is the time when the goddess Kamakhya bleeds. So and menstruation is the start of the creative process. So this is the time of deep intuition. Dream work is also actually very powerful during Ambubachi. And Mata Kamakhya's worship must be done male, female during Ambabachi. Do not miss this opportunity is all I'm saying. I am doing pujas every day. If you want to be a part of that puja during Navratri, it's very cheap. It's only $11 to be included in each puja. So, because each day the samagri is very expensive. All the things have to be offered. So, each day it's $11. So, if you want 1 day, 2 days, or all the days, then drop me an email or text me on WhatsApp. You can contact me on my WhatsApp number +91 7030258060. Check out my websites and please become a member of the channel, because it really helps. So I can bring forth this kind of content, and such detailed content is not something you will find on YouTube, and definitely not in English. So wherever you are from, whichever part of the world, please consider, of course, the usual like, comment, subscribe, share, but become a member. It's really cheap. It's like taking me out for a coffee. So please click on that join button and become a member of this channel. Now, Makar Rashi is also, like I was saying, is associated to Shiva. So when Shani goes Vakri and enters Makar Rashi, then definitely Lingam Puja, and also applying Lingam Mudra. This is Lingam Mudra. This is also Lingam Mudra. This is also Lingam Mudra. And there's certain mantras you can do Om Namah Shivaya, but Om Namah Shivaya is not a complete tantric mantra. A bij will have to be added, and that bij is actually Kulluka. This is what we call Kulluka. So Kulluka will have to be added, and that can only be given to you during initiation. So if you want to know more about that, drop me an email. You can do Om Jung Saha, Om Jung Saha, Om Jung Saha. You can do Shiv Tandav Stotram recitation. Then my favorite mantra of Shiva, Shiva, the Aghoreshwar mantra. Aghorebhyo ataghorebhyo ghora ghora dharebhyaha sarvebhyo sarva sarvebhyo namaste astru rudra devebhyo devebhya. So this is the Aghor mantra of Lord Shiva. So this also can be learned. You can do Bhairav Pujan, Batuk Bhairav Pujan, especially if you have children at home. And also pranayam is a must, Tratak pranayam, because Shani somewhere represents meditation and our connection to our vital breath, which is the pranamaya kosh. This is anyamaya kosh, pranamaya kosh, manomaya kosh, vijnanamaya kosh, anandamaya kosh. So connection to all the koshas are cemented through the breath. So learning pranayam, I do very special initiations on pranayam, tratak, brahmari. So drop me an email if you want to learn more. Now, when is the most dangerous time of Shani Vakri? So like I said, the Shani is going to move slowly through, and he is going to go into Dhanishta. Okay, he's not going to go into Makar. I completely forgot that was the last Saturn retrograde. So when he will go into Dhanishta, right, and he's going to get into Vrishchik Navamsa, and that is when you can expect some diabolical changes to happen. So today, as I make this video and you watch it, it's Masik Shivratri. One day of the month is dedicated to Lord Shiva, and today is that particular day. So before I go, let us do some chants of Om Namah Shivaya. I'll give you a bij, the Kulluka, it's home. So the the best way to chant is Om Hong Namah Shivaya, but again Hong Bij must be taken from a guru. Hong Bij must be taken from a guru. So Om Hong Namah Shivaya. Om Hong Namah Shivaya. Om Hong Namah Shivaya. Om Hong Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Shantaya Karanatraya Hetave Nivedayami Chatmanang Tangating Parameshwara Visheshwaraya Narakanavataranaya Jnanapradaya Karunamaya Sagaraya Karpura Kanda Dhavalindu Jatodharaya Daritra Dukkha Dahanaya Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Take care, guys. See you. Bye. Can you close that? Bye, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Bye.